folks, welcome to episode 4 of the Versus 5 series. I am the Custard Prophet and we are getting to the interesting end of this competition. Not long to go in all 5 of the matches, so yeah, hold on to your butts. Now, if you're not sure what Versus 5 is all about, well, there is an introduction video which is linked down below, so make sure you go and check that out for full details. But let me give you the quick rundown. It's a competition not using the Versus mode in touch, no, this is just using the base FM game. And I have got 10 Football Manager content creators who make their content on YouTube, and they are going head to head against each other. We've got 5 representing Team GB, 5 representing Team Rest of the World, and they are going to go up against each other 1v1 Ryder Cup style. Each one of those matches has an individual challenge associated with it, so each of the 2 content creators taking on one of the challenges will be playing the same club, and will be playing parallel saves in the same club, and they will basically be trying to find out who gets the most amount of points in the regular season. So let's recap who we've got involved and where we left things off last time. So in match 1, this is managing Sassuolo for Team GB. We have the United City FM for Team Rest of the World. We have Old Lady Plays, and last time United City FM had just sneaked ahead 42-40. So all to play for in that game. In match 2, it's the Battle of the Captains at LAFC. Chasing Lamely represents Team GB, and Avoiding Relegation, Team Rest of the World. And this one is going very much in the favour of Team Rest of the World, 52-39. In match 3, it's the other way around. We have Football Manager Maniac representing Team GB, and Leyodemus, Team Rest of the World. And Football Manager Maniac is leading that 68 points to 55. Big lead there. In match 4, it's myself, Custard Prophet, taking on Bobby G Gaming for Rest of the World, and Bobby G has a 6-point lead, 59 points to 53. And in the final match, this is at Trefellin Boys and Girls Club. It is that Trucking Football Manager representing Team GB against Digi for the Rest of the World, and TTFM is leading that one 23 points to 14. So as things stand, Team GB is up in 3 and Team Rest of the World is up in 2, but this could all change. So we have got we are coming back for our latest bunch of matches. We're getting close to the end of all of the seasons. You'll get to have a real good idea of who is likely to go through this. There's some real close ties still, so hold on, it is Versus time. Let's get into match 1. Well, hello folks, this is match 1, and for Team GB we have United City FM. For Team Rest of the World, it's Old Lady Plays. So they are both managing Sassuolo for the season, and this has been the one which has been really close. In the last episode, Kev, United City FM, was 2 points ahead of Old Lady Plays after she went through her difficult run of games. But Kev had a tricky run of games coming up himself. So is he going to have been able to maintain that lead, or is Old Lady Plays going to have come streaking on past him? We will have to find out. We're coming back here for game day 30, so I think there's only 8 games remaining after this, so very close to the end. So every single point is going to be important. Right then, let's have a little look how things have got on since we were last together. With transfers, there has been a transfers on both sides actually, because they came back halfway through the January transfer window. Old Lady Plays bought in this goalkeeper here to boost her ranks. Decent looking keeper, you have to say. Certainly 3-star, 3.5-star potential ability. Not amazing physicals, but everything is pretty good. But some of his technical attributes look pretty damn fantastic for a goalkeeper. So a decent pickup for Old Lady Plays. On the other side, United City FM tried to bring somebody in. He actually shipped out 3 players from his squad for around £10 million together. Couldn't find anyone to bring in, but he reckons he's fairly happy with how things are going. Let's have a look how the results have been going. We'll start off with Old Lady Plays. So last one we saw was the 2-0 win against Parma, and you can see here that we have lost. We've got a good run of games actually. So 5 games without a loss, with a draw away against Milan, which is very creditable. But we have seen losses against Lazio, losses against Atalanta, and probably fairly disappointing draws against Bologna and Verona and Roma to put Old Lady Plays in a little bit of a poor run of form for the last 2 or 3 games. But we will see what happens. In the case of United City FM, he had just beaten Spezia, and well, after that, he had a decent run of games, a bunch of wins, a couple of draws against Atlanta and Verona, but then the poor run has appeared, and this is coincided, no surprises here, with his really tough run of games, playing Juve, Lazio and Napoli back to back, and he lost all 3 of those, and then home loss against Fiorentina, which is a little bit of a bad one, and he's coming here against Udinese away from home, who are in the top half of the table, doing very well, pushing for playoffs. So that is not going to be an easy game either. What does that mean in the overall score at this point? Well, after 29 games, what is amazing is that Old Lady Plays and United City FM both have 56 points. So we are level pegging at this stage. So it's all to play for. Absolutely nothing in it. We do know that Old Lady Plays has probably a harder run-in than Kev does, so we will see how that affects things. But it's hard to predict what is going to happen from here on in. So the matches that we've got for you today, game day 30, Old Lady Plays is away against Sampdoria. And as we just said, United City FM away against Udinese. So let's see what happens. Okay, right, well, comfortable, commanding win from Old Lady Plays. All those draws have been put to bed with a very comfortable win over Sampdoria. Very, very nicely done. But the disappointing run continues for Kev. It is a 2-2 draw away against Udinese, and he has dropped yet more points. It's not a loss, so that does end the run of losses, so that's probably quite important. And it's also worthwhile remembering that Udinese are doing very well in this year. So that is going to be interesting to see see if that draw can just push United City FM into the right direction. Okay, so what does that do to the overall scores? Well, after 30 games, Old Lady Plays has come from behind now. She is leading here on 59 points, with United City FM just 2 points behind, 57. As we said, Old Lady Plays with a tricky run of games to come, so we'll see if she can keep her head just in front of United City FM. Right then, on to match 2. Right then, so this is match 2. Here we have, as we've said before, the Battle of the Captains, where we have Avoiding Relegation representing Team Rest of the World and Chasing Lamely representing Team GB. Now, last time we were together, Avoiding Relegation had a fairly commanding lead, 13 points of commandingness. So Chasing Lamely had a lot of ground to make up since last episode. We've had no transfers and there have been no tweaks in tactics. But the question is, has Chasing Lamely managed to catch up at all? And he's going to need to do that quickly because games are running out. Let's have a look. So let's have a look at Avoiding Relegation first of all. And you can see here, after the last match, which was a 4-0 victory over Seattle Sounders, he got a rather surprising 0-0 draw away at Montreal Impact. Not particularly impressive. And an away loss against San Jose Earthquakes. I think I'm getting this last bit right. Probably the wrong sport. But so there are points dropped. It's not going to be 13 points come back, but there are 5 points dropped there already. So is there an opportunity? If Chasing Lamely gets on a good run, could there be a slightly smaller gap? Let's have a look. Well, the run is better, but there's a couple of draws in there, a couple of 0-0 draws. In fact, hardly any goals conceded. That is quite impressive, actually, looking at it. Wins over LA Galaxy and then an away draw against Nashville and a home draw against Montreal Impact. I don't know what it is about Montreal, but they're causing everyone some troubles. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. So you can see there is something made up, but it's not an awful lot. So the gap was 13 points. It's now 12. So Avoiding Relegation sits currently on 65 points, whereas Avoiding Relegation is on 53. Right then, so we've got game day 28 to play. And in the case of Avoiding Relegation, he's at home against Columbus Crew, and Chasing Lamely is away against San Jose Earthquakes. So toughie for Chasing Lamely, and you'd expect probably the AR machine to keep on going. Let's have a look what happens. Well, I don't think anyone would have predicted that. Avoiding Relegation with a loss. We don't see many of those, and certainly not on camera. And they looked pretty toothless throughout the whole game. I showed you a couple of highlights. There wasn't really a lot more to say, certainly not from his point of view. But a 1-0 loss to Columbus at home, that's not great. That really isn't great. And it was a fantastic opportunity for Chasing Lamely to catch up. But it didn't happen. And a 2-1 loss occurred. And that is not great. It was a decent performance and a goal disallowed. So a little bit unfortunate. But that was the opportunity to get it back into single figures, to get back to 9 points, and then maybe there's a chance. 12 points, it's a long old way back. It is a long way back. So the current standings, well, nothing's changed. So we're still, 12 points difference, 65 points for Avoiding Relegation and 53 for Chasing Lamely. Let's move on to match 3. Right then, this is match 3. This is our 4th episode, so penultimate episode in match 3. This has been one-way traffic so far, as Football Manager Maniac from Team GB has laid into Leyodemus from Team Rest of the World relentlessly. Football Manager Maniac, as we left it last time, was 13 points ahead. He was unbeaten. He was way out top of the league, playing with Standard Liège in the Belgian top division. But Leyodemus, he was top of the league himself. He was playing some good football. Just he's come up against someone who is in imperious form. So there's no disgrace to what Leyodemus has done at all. I think if he'd been up against probably anyone else from Team GB, it would have been a different story. But yeah, we come back for this penultimate episode. We have arrived and we're going to be looking at game day 30, very close to the end of the season. I think there's only sort of 6 or so games left after this. And we'll be having a look how they've got on prior to this in the last 6 or so games. So let's have a look. So of course this is the no transfer challenge, so we've seen no transfers in or out. Actually, tactically, they haven't really been tweaking their tactics. You've seen we saw a massive change of tactic from Leyodemus last time, which did seem to make a difference. Not on that episode against Genk, which was a bit of a disaster, but it certainly seemed to have improved things for him up until that game. And Football Manager Maniac's crazy good tactic continues on unaffected. So let's have a look how they've gone on in the last few games. We'll start off with Football Manager Maniac. As you can see, there's been 5 games played since the last time we were together, and it's maybe not gone how you might have expected. So far in those 5 games, we have seen 2 draws and 3 wins. Now that is not Football Manager Maniac form, and particularly when you're looking who they're against. And both of them were at home, one of them against Mechelen, who are not the best team in this league, and the other against Genk. So, bit of a surprise. And when you look that they've got Anderlecht today, maybe there's a way back into this for Leyodemus. We'll have to see. So let's have a look how Leyodemus has got on. And you can see here, in all of the 5 games, we have seen wins. And that includes a win over Club Bruges, so some decent sides in there. That's important. So definitely some points clawed back from Leyodemus. Let's have a look. So after 29 games played there, Leyodemus sits now on 70 points. And Football Manager Maniac is still ahead, but the gap has been closed by 4. He's ahead 79 points. So that's interesting. That is very, very interesting. It's still a big gap to get back, but today, as we said, Football Manager Maniac will be playing away against Anderlecht. That's probably the hardest game that they're going to be coming up against. And Leyodemus, well, he is home against Mouscron, who I think are mid-table in his league. So it's an advantage for Leyodemus here to maybe get the result. So let's see how they got on. Okay, well, we're very, very interesting. Left it late. Leyodemus left it very, very late, but he got the 3 points, and that is all that matters to continue that really nice run of victories. I mean, if you look before that, there is a lot of green there as well. So it's a really good run he's on, with taking aside that game against Genk. So that is good. And Football Manager Maniac, I mean, he got a point, and his unbeaten run continues, but there is no way on earth that point was deserved. Anderlecht were all over him for pretty much the entire game, and he comes away with a point, which is, he's got to be happy with that. He has got to be happy with that. But it does mean that the lead at the top has been whittled down even further. So we are now down to 7 points. Football Manager Maniac sits now on 80 points, but Leyodemus is on 73. So that's just 3 wins, or 2 wins and a draw to catch up. So there's not that many games remaining, but it's not impossible now. Football Manager Maniac hits a poor run of form. He could be in some trouble. Anyway, that's enough of this, and we'll see what happens next time out in the grand finale. But let's move on to match 4. Right then, so this is match 4, and this is my own match. So I am representing Team GB, and I'm going up against Bobby G at Team Rest of the World. We're both playing at Burton Albion in League One. So we're pretty much at least 3/4 of the way through the season. The last time we were together, it had flipped a little bit. We were all square the time before. Bobby G then went 6 points up, and it wasn't looking great. So we've played on a few more games, and we're moving all the way forward to match day 38 today. So we'll see what has happened, whether I've managed to claw my way back a little bit, or whether Bobby G has extended his lead. Again, we're going to be playing, we've got the same fixture list, which no one else does, and we're both going to be playing Fleetwood at home, which is the same game. The eagle-eared amongst you will remember is the same game as we played in the first episode. No transfers, no tactical tweaks. Let's get straight into those results. So let's start off with Bobby G, because he's in front, and this is what we had. So Bobby G got himself, he beat Hull last time out fairly comfortably, and you can see here it's gone well, but it's not gone brilliantly. There are 3 draws and a loss in there. That's 9 points dropped. So there is potential for me to get something back here if I can have a decent run of form. You look at some of those losses, those draws as well. I mean, bizarre. 1-1 drawing at home against Bristol Rovers, 1-1 draw home against Peterborough, away against Charlton, more understandable, and then a loss away at Crewe, which is fascinating stuff. So let's have a look what I did. Can I do better than 9 points? Well, as you can see, yes, it's gone a bit better. There is a loss in there, a 2-3 loss against Charlton. Looks like both of us struggled against Charlton. But the only other drop point in there is away against Wimbledon, a 2-2 draw against Wimbledon. So 5 points dropped there, which if you do and understand maths, you will realise picks me up 4 points. So how are things standing with 37 games played? Well, Bobby G, who is ahead, is on 77 points, whereas I am just 2 points behind now on 75 points. Fascinating stuff. So no difference really at all. It is not going to be much in this at all. It's going to be fascinating. Right then, so as I say, we're both playing Fleetwood. See what we do. Well, yeah, frustrating end there. 1-1 draw. Screwed it up really there. 2 points, that is very doable, but 4 points, it's going to be harder to get that. Bobby G with a comfortable, crazy match, 6-3 win. yeah, didn't have room to put all the goals in there, unfortunately. But 6 goals for Bobby G there and 3 against. A bit of craziness. So, well, what does that do in the end? Well, Bobby G moves to 80 points with that win, and I've just moved up 1 point to 76. So, as I said, there was only 4 points between us, and not many games to go. I think there's 8 games remaining. It is going to be fascinating to see how this turns out. Make sure you join us for the next and final episode. But before you do, let's move on to match 5. Okay, on to match 5, the final match. This is representing Team GB. We have that Trucking Football Manager, and Team Rest of the World, FM Digi. They are managing Trefellyn Boys and Girls Club in the 2nd Division in Wales, which was FM Llama's pick, which is an absolute tough challenge. Last time out, this was going very much in the direction of Team GB with TTFM 9 points ahead of Digi. But Digi did seem to be picking up form a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what has happened since we were last together. Let's have a look what has happened in the last few games. So let's first of all talk transfers. Well, there have been transfers. I'm not going to show you any of them because I haven't been doing that with this particular one, because it's just a merry-go-round of transfers for both of them, just trying to find players. As far as I understand, though, these players tend to be squad players rather than anything else. I think most of them are playing more defined first 11s and sort of keeping that fairly similar throughout. TTFM, he reckons he's made some very, very minor tweaks to the tactic in terms of the mentality, perhaps, but in the case of Digi, he has gone back to this 4-2-4 wide formation after the formation that we talked about, I think, last time. And this seems to be serving him well in the last few games, and we'll have a look at that in a second. So here you see Digi's. He was playing this 5-3-1-1 asymmetric formation, and to mixed results. The last time we were together, it was a 3-0 loss, which was fairly disappointing for him. But he followed that up with a 3-0 victory, and then some draws. So it's really not terrible. And he's actually had another couple of victories in there as well. So really quite good form at the minute. A bunch of friendlies, which make it all look a lot better, but some good results throughout. And actually, only a couple of games lost. So a real improvement in form. But is it going to be enough to overhaul TTFM? Well, let's have a look. And yeah, TTFM, he has picked up similarly a bunch of wins. In this case, it's 4 wins rather than just the 3, but he has lost a few games. So that does look like it is like he has perhaps drawn out his lead a little bit more, which is somewhat surprising after that form from Digi. So I think both of them are getting the hang of this lower league malarkey. I know TTFM loves that, but I think this was a particularly nasty challenge. So Llama should be ashamed of himself. So after 21 games, we have TTFM is up there on 35 points, very, very respectable in mid-table, and Digi is 10 points behind now on 25. So it's extended out by 1 point. So really not a massive amount of difference between this time and last time. In terms of the games that we're going to see today, TTFM is going to be playing Cumbrian Celtics, who are low down in the league, at home, whereas Digi will be playing the team I don't like to say because they're really hard to say, Llanelli, again at home, and they are doing a little bit better than 14th. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Let's go and find out. Well, I mean, I fell asleep, I have to say, during some of those performances. It was awful, wasn't it? I mean, not a single highlight at all throughout the whole of that Trucking Football Manager's game. That's why you didn't get to see anything. It was a little bit more exciting in Digi's. I don't think there was a highlight in the first half. It got a little more exciting, and a good 1-1 draw for him, and could have been 2-1 in the end. Right at the end, that chance, if that had gone in, been a different story, and things might have been a little bit more interesting. But as things stand, the 10-point difference still is in effect. We have 36 points now for that Trucking Football Manager and 26 for FM Digi. Not long to go. It's a big old way back for Digi at this point. Is there any chance of a comeback? I'm thinking it's a little bit too much now, but who knows? Who knows? This is a bizarre league, so let's find out next time round. Right then, let's remind you what happened in all 5 of those matches, and then we'll see how things are standing right at the end. It is on a knife edge, isn't it? Just one more set of matches to go. Either team could win this, and it's hard to predict what that final score will be. So let's just go through those matches. Match 1, and at Sassuolo. This is United City FM against Old Lady Plays. This is so close. It's been flip-flopping all the way through. United City FM this time now 2 points behind Old Lady Plays, but we know there's a tough run of games to come, so we will see. It could go either way, that one. Really, really exciting match 1. Match 2 perhaps looks a little bit more clear-cut. LAFC. Looks like this might be going the way of Team Rest of the World, with avoiding relegation, now leading that 65-53. Chasing Lamely did pull back a single point, but had the opportunity to pull back a few more in the live episode, but didn't manage it. Match 3, this has changed a mass, hasn't it? This was out of sight for Football Manager Maniac, and a fairly poor little run. Leaves him now just 7 points ahead of Leyodemus. So, 80 points to Football Manager Maniac and 73 to Leyodemus. Is there a amazing comeback on the cards here? It's not out of the question, but we know what Football Manager Maniac is made of. I don't think bottle is in his vocabulary. So in match 4, again, this is another really, really close one. Just 4 points in it. Bobby G still ahead, but just 4 points in it. Should have been a lot closer, but a last gasp goal gave me a draw rather than a win, and left me on 76 points, just 4 behind Bobby G. In the final match, this one is looking more and more like it is going the way of Team GB. With that Trucking Football Manager 10 points ahead of Digi, 36 points to 26. I guess it's still recoverable, but there's not a lot of games left in that, so there's going to have to be something that's pretty spectacular that happens if Digi is getting back into that. So as things stand, last time round, Team Rest of the World were 3-2 down. This time they're 3-2 up, the way things stand if it finished like this. But I think we can clearly see this is on a knife edge. It could go either direction, and you're going to have to wait for next week to find out what the final score is going to be. Now, if you have enjoyed these episodes, please hit that like button. It really helps this series get found. I really love the concept of this series, and I'd love to get a few more eyes on it. So yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this sort of stuff. We will be having Versus 6 at some point in the future, but also make sure you go over to all these other fantastic creators and subscribe to them as well. Links to all of these creators are down in the description below, so make sure you follow those. And if you can't manage to watch all of them, yeah, the recap, as always, it's going to be, I think, on Sunday rather than the Thursday, so a little bit later, just give me a little bit more time to put everything together. But expect to see it then, and you will get to see the final result. Who is going to win this? Is it going to be Team GB or Team Rest of the World? Leave your prediction down in the comments below. I'll be really interested to find out what you think at this stage. Be going to be fascinating. I think the matches to keep your eyes on if you want to watch any of the matches. Well, myself against Bobby G, you won't find out what's going on with Bobby G until the recap, so you can wait to that. But certainly match one looks like you definitely want to be heading over to United City FM and Old Lady Plays' channel next Sunday at 6 p.m. It's going to be worth it. And I think the other one that's really interesting now is seeing if Leyodemus can come back against Football Manager Maniac, and that will be Friday, 6 p.m. So keep your eyes out for those. Finally, if you have enjoyed this, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you are new. And I will see you next time for the final recap, the finale. See you then. Goodbye.